My name's Pete Hammond with Deadline, and thank you for coming out today on Saturday. How many people had watched all 10 episodes of The Studio before you got here? Woo! Okay. And so you just saw the number 9 and 10, the finale, actually, of the season. And how many loved The Studio? Woo! Okay. So cool. Well, you're here on a good day because I'm going to introduce this incredible panel we have. First up, he plays Tyler. This is Dewayne Perkins. As Petra, Keyla Monterroso Mejia. And as if he needs another Emmy, he's nominated again this year, guest actor in a comedy, Bryan Cranston. So funny. And, okay, and as Quinn Hackett, Chase Sui Wonders. As Maya Mason, Kathryn Hahn. Year, and nominated for 4 personal Emmys on this show as co-creator, writer, director, executive producer, and as Matt Remick. This is Seth Rogen.
It feels like we're about to play the match game.
Yeah, exactly.
It does.
I would hope Meryl Streep had a bigger theater. This is it. That's what Meryl Streep gets?
Meryl Streep Annex.
Yeah, exactly. Come on. Give the lady a full-size theater. You get like 1/8 of a theater, Meryl.
But we are recording this, so more than everybody.
Don't worry, Meryl Streep's not going to watch this. I'm concerned that that's going to get back to her. Meryl's just live streaming her theater all day.
Oh man, this could be an episode of The Studio. Trying to hide from Meryl Streep. Anyway, congratulations. This is setting a record here as the most nominations for a comedy series in its debut season ever. And tied the record for the most nominations in a single season for any comedy series. How did that feel, Seth, when you came up with this concept with Evan and your creative partners here of doing what is clearly an industry show, a show about the industry, that it would be received by the industry in such a fashion here?
It's great. I was not expecting it at all. I never expect any awards attention in any way, shape, or form. Hollywood does not shockingly, Hollywood's somewhat of an ego-driven industry. And so, people with egos like it when you talk about them. And so, that's not lost on me. I like it, I like it. And so, but honestly, I was actually very worried that people within the industry would feel as though we weren't representing it properly, or that our sentiments towards it would be vastly different than their sentiments, and so I was actually quite, and I was also aware that a lot of people in the industry would watch the show, or at least check it out out of curiosity, and so I did not assume people in the industry would like. I really hoped they would, and I really hope that us speaking from our experience would resonate with other people who had similar experiences. Yeah.
How much of this is from your experience? Do we know Matt? Do we know? Everybody's guessed.
Yeah.
Who is who? Particularly, who is Bryan Cranston? My God.
I've been asking that question.
Exactly.
Well, who is Griffin Mill, I should say.
Who is Griffin Mill? It's very based on our. I'd say it's entirely based on our experiences or people. We met with pretty much all the heads of every studio while we were writing the show. We're continuing to meet with them as we write the second season of the show. It's funny now, they just give us notes on the first season of the show. Because the studio heads, they're incapable of not giving notes. So yeah, we really tried to like mine our resources as far as stories go, but a lot of it is stuff that me and Evan, my creative partner, have personally experienced, and yeah, Bryan. It's funny. It was sort of originally sort of based on like a Michael Linton like kind of scary faceless suit guy, and then Bryan was like, it should be more like Robert Evans, like a more kind of. I guess like flamboyant in some ways and exciting and more personality, you know. And it's amazing because like we obviously had our vision for the characters, and then all the cast comes in and adds so much and makes them so much better, you know. I mean, Kathryn's character is a perfect example. Is like it was originally written as sort of like a foil for Matt and someone who was sort of straight-laced and very like bottom line oriented, and then Kathryn came in and we're like, oh, that's not who this person is. And in our heads, actually, like our characters like really hated each other, like actually, and then ultimately our characters seemed to be fucking each other. That was like
real surprise.
Yeah, like purely based on as we were performing the scenes, you were like, I think we would like each other, like, and I think we would be very argumentative and philosophically have different views on things, but it felt like we would genuinely have a connection with one another, and so you got to leave the door open for things like that to
even
evolve.
in the first couple drafts, you wanted me to fire her, or you wanted the power to fire her.
Yes,
right?
yes, I was trying to get rid of her, basically. Yeah, we were sort of vying for the job originally, and then then we got rid of that. I couldn't beat you, so.
No. Kat, why would you even try? But that kind of dirty past came out real organically. It was really so it'll be fun. We like dropping it in wherever it was during the season 2 was pretty fantastic. Yeah, it became very clear that she would be kind of more on the same team with them than an antagonist. Also, they need her because she's better at her job than anybody else.
Yeah, but Kathryn, I know so many people in the business have guessed who you are playing, a marketing person. They say, well, the hair, that's so, I won't mention the names here, but I've heard them all. So who did you base it on? I mean, how did you approach this? You know, she's such an enthusiastic marketing person for anything that's a tentpole or can immediately be sold easily.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of women, actually, that and men, that I feel like have the same kind of aesthetic, total panic about becoming irrelevant, like just in armor, clothes-wise. Like, that's what we kept calling it. It was like her marketing armor. At one point, I even think she had camo on with sequins, but I've certainly met plenty of those humans. And not even just like in mom groups and stuff. Like there's always someone that's just like overly confident and also really good at her job. Like you would want to go to her for advice for sure. Very passionate. I think that's all about cash. Certainly for her. And maybe every once in a while a warm body. But yeah, so I wouldn't say anyone specific, but I certainly also have gotten phone calls or texts from people asking me if it was them.
If it was them?
Yeah.
Name all those names.
I'm going to name them all right now.
That's fascinating to me now that they would call you directly and say.
Yeah, well, it's nice to hear that because it seems to be clearly like a loving homage. You know, if they weren't calling me, then you know someone is offended.
It's easier when you pick someone who's dead.
Yeah.
Exactly. Now, Chase, I love your stuff with Sal in particular. You're both sort of vying for his attention. And particularly the episode where you were in the parking lot and it was all about the parking space and all of that. And that's got to be from true life.
I mean, I think the parking space is something that a lot of studio heads contend with. And every lot has these named parking spaces and this exclusive like titular thing of this is reserved for XYZ. And it's funny, I went into a meeting the other day on a lot and I met with a junior exec and she's like, I drive a Mini Cooper. Is this based on me? And I've kind of started to indulge everybody and just be like, yeah, it is.
It is, yeah.
Every meeting I've gone into is this based on me? But that was very fun. That was very fun to play. And I have a lot of friends who are starting out in the entertainment business, who are trying to earn their stripes, but feel really impatient and feel really entitled and want it all now. And yeah, I think Quinn kind of embodies that ethos.
Yeah. What's it like, in doing a role like this? 'Cause I've seen you in a lot of different kinds of things, but playing something so industry-centric is completely different.
Oh, yeah, and the comedy aspect of it all. I think I really am grateful that Seth and Evan, I think, just saw a little twinkle of a freak inside my eye and continued to foster that throughout the season. And yeah, this is totally new for me and jumping into new territory, but this is kind of the best possible circus of freaks I could have asked to do it with.
No question. Now Seth, you have one category at the Emmys where 5 actors and guest actor in a comedy series, one of them sitting right behind you, are vying for this, which is like almost unheard of. And some of them are Martin Scorsese, Ron Howard, Dave Franco. I mean, what a lineup. I have to ask you before I go to Bryan, was it difficult, or did you have a list, your dream list of who I could get on to come on in these kind of cameos and do this?
Not really, honestly. The way we write the show is that we come up with sort of the joke of the episode, and then we sort of reverse engineer which people within our industry fit the joke that we are trying to make, basically. And so it's pretty hard, and it's not like, I wish it was that famous people would come up to me and they're like, could I be on your show? And my answer is often not really, because you don't necessarily occupy the exact specific joke that we require out of these episodes, and Martin Scorsese, it's there's maybe no one else who could have done that role very specifically, someone who I would love, who would make a big Jonestown movie. You believe it cost $200 million? You believe I would enable that? And it's like that for a lot of the episodes, and so. I'm so grateful that the people who did it ultimately did it, because if they didn't, we would have been majorly fucked. And we're facing that right now as we write the second season, and that, people are like, oh, it must be so much easier now. And I'm like, it's really not. It may be harder now, honestly, because we see that the more specific the role is to a person, the better it is. Yeah. And so, if anything, it's put even more pressure on us to fill these slots with the exact right person, and they often are not people who are even professional actors, or people who are in front of the camera often, or people who want to make fun of themselves. And so I wish it was easier. So far it's not.
It's Ron Howard's first ever Emmy nomination as an actor.
Opie was snubbed.
Been around since 1950.
Justice for Opie.
It took you to finally get him recognized as an actor.
I saw something in the guy. Give the kid a break. Yeah.
So what did you see?
I feel like he's been acting since his credited name was Little Ron Howard. He had the word little in his name. Now you have to be a SoundCloud rapper to have little in your name.
I think he was an embryo.
Yeah, exactly.
So it took that big fight scene to finally.
I know we had to unleash the rage.
Now, what did you have to do to Bryan Cranston to talk him into playing this batshit crazy guy that runs? He's climbing fountains in Las Vegas, and he's totally stoned out of his
mind. Bryan made it much crazier than it was.
Bryan won an Emmy, I believe, for Malcolm in the Middle. Or
no,
were you nominated?
No, I did not.
But
no, I was nominated.
You were nominated. Your comedy chops we've seen before, but man, you are just sailing over the top with this role. It's so good.
Well, Seth and Evan they create an environment where they say, just go and play. So like, it was like the 14th take of the scenes outside where I'm on the fountain with Aphrodite or whoever it is, and I just wanted to make the writers laugh who are watching, so I'm orally copulating the statue, and I'm just thinking, this is never going to be it. They're going to choose something else, and all of a sudden
We're like, cinema.
But it's a blast. I read this script, and to read something and laugh out loud, which this first pilot episode did, and then talking to Seth and what we can do, and I said, I have some ideas. Can I throw them? Oh yeah. So every time we did a scene, all collectively or individually, it was like, yeah, let's get these plot points in. We need to say this or do that.
Yeah.
And then, whatever you have, bring something, say something, do something, whatever you like. That kind of freedom then stimulates us to because it's, warranted and welcomed. And we just start throwing things out there and, pitching ideas. And like I said to him, I said, what if my guy is actually 82 years old?
Oh yeah.
I just had so much plastic surgery. He goes, and only because he had to process it, he goes, that fits perfectly with what we're doing.
Yeah, it worked.
Stuff like that.
It's great. Was Weekend at Bernie's an inspiration?
Oh
at
yeah,
all
we
this?
referenced it directly. It was we had a real goal to Weekend at Bernie's somebody. That was, again, to me, like, we wanted to, that's what's fun about the show is like, we want it to be like a real comedy. And I think like an outwardly, it's like we were really reaching for big, explosive laughs, hopefully. And to us, that's like the fun tonal challenge is like, how do you keep something feeling like you emotionally believe these are real people in real situations, but our like personal game is sort of like, how far can we push this, like until we've maybe broken it, and then we reel it back a little bit, but that was the thing where I remember we would all say like if we could get to this, like if we can in a somewhat believable way that you actually buy this is happening, get to us like puppeting Cranston's body across a casino like Weekend at Bernie's. That was a real treat. And then I remember doing it. I remember we didn't try it until we shot it, and we tied our shoes together and we started doing it, and I was like, we're doing it. It works. It actually, you could do this to somebody.
3:00 in the morning, and
Literally 3:00 in the morning.
Hotel.
Yeah, you actually shot on location there and did a lot of that in Vegas.
All these last 2 episodes were shot in Vegas.
Yeah. It was supposed to be CinemaCon. And it seemed like the whole season built up to that crescendo of comedy, and it's so nice to see a comedy series get this recognition as a comedy series when, not naming names, some comedy series. Yeah.
Great show.
Great show.
It's a great show.
Very good show.
But should it be in comedy? I mean, here we have, pure comedy.
You know this stuff. Is it because it's a half-hour show? And so
It's a half-hour show.
Delineated that way. Any half-hour show is considered a comedy.
I used to be on the Television Academy Board representing writers, and there was a whole discussion, well, should we just say if it's a half hour, it's a comedy, if it's an hour, it's a drama? They literally had that discussion, which sort of got tabled. But I think the mindset is that it's a half hour, it's got to be comedy, and the producers of The Bear did not fight it.
No.
So they could have said, we're really a drama, but maybe we shouldn't put labels on anything, because,
No, we're a comedy.
That's it. And somebody who knows comedy, I told her out there, I'm a big fan because I'm a big fan of Curb Your Enthusiasm, and when Keyla right here, just so fabulous. And it can't be that easy in that show, particularly to play someone with absolutely no talent, who's...
That's very easy, actually.
But that's a show all about improvisation. If you go on that show, you know what it's going to be. What about here? Did they let you loose to
They did.
Yeah.
But I did not take it. I was very nervous. But you know what? There's one scene where I'm like doing cocaine at the end. And that was Ike Baron's whole genius idea. He was just like, just do it. And I was like, okay.
I feel like my reaction was genuine too. Like I came out just as you were doing it. I was like, what the fuck is happening?
That was a bit of improv, and that was so much fun. It was just like, it's like an adrenaline. It's just like, okay, yeah. So like, you know, it worked for the cocaine stuff.
And she was up for 6 days after that.
But Petra is supposed to be sort of the voice of reason, somebody that's like a straight person for all that's crazy going around her in this whole world.
Interesting. I was more so like, Petra thinks this is like the coolest thing. She just like actually can't contain her excitement as well. And
So good.
like borderline unprofessional, obviously.
Yeah.
You know? But she's having a good time, which is very easy because I was just like, this is actually crazy. In the scene, and I'm like, this is it's very genuine. All of it. I'm like freaking out.
What kind of reaction do you get? People say, "Oh, that's me." Like they're talking about, they're guessing who's who. I mean, in terms of, we all know Petra's in studios and things.
Right. No, you know what? Assistants are usually very quiet and they're very kind and like just they're not like telling you like, oh my god, you know, they're just like, they'll be here in a minute. Like, you know, so they're very professional. Like,
Can I get you some coffee?
Yeah, they're super like about it. So, which is like, I feel bad. Like, Petra's probably like, not a good representation of how they act. So like, they are very, very professional. And I apologize actually now that I'm thinking about it.
Well, let's see here. Dewayne, I want to read this. They prepared questions for me here, which I haven't been using, but I want to use one on you.
Okay.
Okay. Tyler often concedes to others' opinions to secure his position at work. In collaborating with Seth, how did you both delve into the complexities of hierarchical dynamics and these nuances in your portrayal?
That's what I want to know.
Take it away.
Great question.
Just talk about the nuances part.
Tyler did what people wanted so that he can keep his job. So I feel like that really rang true because I also like to keep jobs. Yeah, I mean, it was nuanced for sure. I think that one of the greatest nuances was the relationship to social status in the workplace, and race and class, and Tyler being black. He said, "What are the other ones? Not too many. Let me shut my ass up." And also, similar to me, just happy to be there. I think something you may not know is I started acting, and then because I was black and homosexual, it was hard. So I said, let me go write. So then I started writing, and then most people thought that my main thing was writing. So then it was then hard to go back to acting because they were like, hey, write this thing. And I was like, I really would rather not. And so that's how I first met Seth, was writing on Sasha's Party.
Yeah.
And so then I got to do some like voices, and then they were like, oh, you also do this other. I'm like a comedy like nerd. I did like improv, stand up. I wrote in late night. Like I'm just obsessed with comedy. So to be able to like showcase this part of myself, I was just really grateful. And so I think the excitement that I showed in Tyler was just me just being happy to exercise that part of me within a group of like legends, like to be able, and then because of the way it was shot and filmed, it was creating this environment that gave me a lot of faith for the industry. And so it really, and then for it to be rewarded the way that it has been, like to experience something good that produced good and then was rewarded with good really does something in an industry that is historically bad.
It's so nice. It's all Sausage Party is responsible for this.
Oh yeah, a lot of great things were born of sausage.
No doubt. This is a room full of actors, obviously, here. This is a SAG nominating committee, I understand, which is great. And SAG has ensemble categories, which unlike the Emmys or others, or the Oscars, they don't. If ever I've seen a great ensemble in every way, it's a show with the casting and it's really everybody gets their shot on it. Before we go, Seth, I have to ask you about some of the other episodes. They saw the last two, and actually when I came out, I asked how many have seen all 10, and 2/3 of the audience's hands went up, so it is getting eyeballs watching it, obviously. But you did take off on the Golden Globes, which was hilarious.
Yeah.
How did you get Ted Sarandos to go into the men's room and pee on national television?
You give him a lot of water. I mean, Ted, I've known Ted a very long time. I actually think when I first met Ted, he was physically putting DVDs in envelopes and mailing them to people. And I'm not exaggerating. Like, I've known him for a very long time, before Netflix was what it is today in Hollywood. And he's a real film fan. Like, he loves movies, and I really just thought he would get the joke of the show overall. And I asked him if I could, if he would be willing to be on the show. And I explained to him the joke. I was like, the joke is that I want to be thanked, and no one will thank me, and people keep thanking you in their speeches, and then you tell me that you've made it contractual and people have to thank you if they work on a Netflix thing and they win. And he was like, that's funny, I'll do that. I also thought it was funny because it showed how truly unintimidated Netflix is by Apple TV Plus. He didn't care. You could tell that wasn't on his radar. And so he showed up and he was hilarious. And yeah, we shoot the show in a pretty technically challenging way for the performers, and that it's all one. Every scene, it's not. I don't know if these are the only episodes you've seen. Just know every episode is done where every scene is one continuous shot, basically. And for the performers, I mean, it's very fun, but it's also incredibly challenging. And if one person stumbles over one word or misspeaks in one way or is a millisecond late on their cue, the whole scene doesn't work anymore, and we have to do another take. And so really combining people with not a lot of acting experience with people with a huge amount of acting experience, throw in a couple hundred background performers and a few lighting cues and a few effects cues and maybe a stunt here or there, it becomes incredibly complicated. And truly, I would show up on set every day and I would have this feeling of like maybe we'll never get this. And then I would be so impressed by the performers and how locked in they would get and how they could handle so much input from me that was both like performance notes and just technical notes. Like, you got to move out of the way of the camera. You got to help move this chair because the camera person's coming around. And the cast was really doing a lot of that stuff while they're off camera. And so it was incredibly logistically and technically challenging for the performers. And then, to me, what I kind of marvel at is when you watch it, it just looks like chaos. And it just looks like we're pointing a camera at things that are happening. And that could not be further from what is actually happening. Like, it could not be more precise. Everything is predetermined pretty much. And everything has been discussed. And people do improvise a little bit here and there. But it's all folded into, like, a very specific set of blocking and timing and stuff like that. And so when it feels chaotic, to me, that's like something I am very proud of, because it it's anything but chaotic when we first start doing it. If anything, it's incredibly mechanical, and everyone's really trying to hit their marks and make sure they're in the right place at the right time. And then the fact that it sort of like devolves into what looks like a bunch of people just screaming at each other is really like, to me, that's very impressive for the performers, because like they all know exactly what they're doing, and they're really playing off of one another's timing and bobbing and weaving to find the little holes and the silences to fit another little joke in there. And it's like it's as hard as anything that I've ever done, but also when it works, it's like very rewarding, I think. Yeah.
I think it works. When you watch it, I watched all 10 at once. They gave me some press screeners, so I didn't know. I was just fascinated by the concept. I said, I can't wait. And it was like chewing gum. I had to keep watching it immediately. And, it gets to those episodes you just saw, 9 and 10, and I said, oh my God, this thing's going to jump the shark. It's going to jump the shark. It's going to go into Fellini Satyricon now and whatever. And then I saw those episodes again, and I saw what you were just talking about. Everything is so precisely planned out that it does look like chaos, but it isn't. And that was what is so great to see. And it's why it's being recognized, not just above the line in writing, nominations, directing, and everything else, but sound mixing, cinematography, you name it. They have responded, the industry has, and I think everybody else, we're going to get season 2, and you're working on that now, so that's exciting. When is that going to be, ready to air? When will we see, do you think we'll see?
No fucking clue.
Okay. All right. We'll have to wait. Well, Apple's other show, Severance, which waited 3 years, but I hope we don't have to wait.
It won't be 3 years.
Okay.
I can tell you that for sure.
That's great. Well, thanks for coming out here, and